You know, there's almost nothing more frustrating than this. You hop in your truck, you turn the key, you hear it crank and crank and crank, but it just will not start. Well, today we're going to tackle that exact problem with a really powerful but simple diagnostic you can do right in your own driveway. So you turn that key, the engine is turning over just fine, but it never actually catches and runs. It's that classic crank, no start situation. And you know, that almost always points to one of two things. You've either got no spark or you've got no fuel. This explainer? Well, we're going all in on chasing down that no fuel problem. And here's the wild part. This huge, incredibly annoying problem could be caused by something as small and as simple as this, a fuel pump relay. Yeah, a little plastic box that costs like a few bucks. We're going to show you exactly how to find out if that little thing is your entire issue. So, how do we test this little box? Before we start pulling things out, it's really important to understand the why behind it. We're going to do what's called a relay bypass test. This is the for sure, definitive way to check the circuit, and then I'm going to show you a lightning-fast shortcut.
The easiest way to think of a fuel pump relay is like a gatekeeper. Your truck's main computer tells the relay, hey, open the gate, and that lets electricity flow to the fuel pump. But over years of engine heat, all that vibration, and literally thousands of clicks, this little switch can just plain wear out. If the gatekeeper isn't listening or the gate itself is just broken, no power gets through, and your truck is going nowhere.
And here is the key to the whole thing. By jumping or bypassing that relay, we are essentially building a temporary bridge for the electricity. We're completely taking the computer and the relay out of the equation for a moment, just to see if the fuel pump itself will turn on when we give it direct power. Now, I have to say this again. This is strictly a diagnostic step. It is not a permanent repair. All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty with the step-by-step procedure. And don't worry, this is way simpler than it sounds. But we absolutely have to start with the most important step of all. Okay, before you touch a single thing under the hood, let's talk safety. This is completely non-negotiable. First things first, disconnect the negative terminal on your battery. Make sure the truck is in park or neutral and crank that parking brake on good and tight. And please, use a jumper wire that has an inline fuse. It's a super cheap piece of insurance that protects all the expensive electronics in your truck. Now, when you pull that relay out, you're going to see a pattern of numbered slots. Don't let it intimidate you. We only care about 2 of them for this test. Pin 30, which is the constant power coming in, and pin 87, which is the power going out to the fuel pump. Those other 2, 85 and 86, that's the control circuit from the computer that we're bypassing. Our whole goal here is just to connect 30 directly to 87.
So this whole thing really just boils down to a simple 3-step process. First, pop your hood and find your main fuse box. That diagram on the inside of the cover, that's your treasure map. Use it to find the fuel pump relay and just pull it straight out. Second, look at the empty socket and find those slots for pins 30 and 87. On a lot of trucks, they're actually diagonal from each other. Finally, just take your jumper wire and securely plug it in to connect those 2 slots.
Okay, the jumper is in. Now comes the moment of truth. What happens next is going to tell you everything you need to know. You are listening for one of 2 things. If you connect that jumper and you immediately hear a pretty distinct humming or whirring sound from the back of the truck, congratulations, that's your fuel pump. And it means the pump motor is good. The problem is almost certainly just a bad relay. But if you connect the jumper and all you hear is silence, well, that tells you the problem lies somewhere else. It could be a dead pump motor, it could be a blown fuse for the pump, or maybe a wiring issue between the fuse box and the gas tank. Now, before you even go digging around for a jumper wire, let's talk about that lightning-fast shortcut I mentioned. This is a total pro tip that can save you a ton of time. It's the 10-second swap test. This is just fantastic advice. Your fuse box is literally full of identical relays for other things, like the horn or the air conditioning. If you can find one that has the exact same part number as your fuel pump relay, you can use it for a nearly instant diagnosis. And the process couldn't be simpler. Just find a non-critical relay, like the horn relay, and double check. And I mean really double check that the numbers printed right on top are identical. Then just swap them. Put the horn relay in the fuel pump spot. Now get in the cab, turn the key, and if that truck fires right up, you've done it. You have 100% confirmed you have a bad fuel pump relay. It is that easy. So you've run the test, you've decoded the results, you now have a really powerful piece of information to work with. Let's just wrap this all up with the most important takeaway. Whether you used that jumper wire or you did the swap test, you were performing a diagnostic. This is not a permanent solution. The whole goal was just to pinpoint the problem so you can perform the correct repair, which, if you're lucky, is as simple as buying and installing a new relay. You see? You just turned a super frustrating mystery into a solvable problem with just a little bit of logic. Which, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple diagnostics are out there that can empower you to really understand and take control of your vehicle?